If you've noticed more hair in your brush lately or your ponytail feels thinner than it used to, it's not just age. It's a sign that your hair may be reacting to what's happening inside your body. For women over 50, there's a specific type of hair loss that doctors in the US monitor closely, and surprisingly, something as simple as the nuts you eat could either be helping your hair or secretly making it worse. This isn't guesswork. The information I'm sharing today is backed by research from American universities and medical studies, specifically looking at women like us in Europe and the US. The right nuts can restore strength, thickness, and resilience to hair, while others often considered healthy can quietly sabotage your results. By the end, you'll know exactly which nuts to embrace and which to approach with caution. And yes, one of the risky nuts is probably in your kitchen right now. Before we dive in, do me a favor, hit the like button and drop a comment with your age. It may seem small, but it helps build a community of women sharing experiences, advice, and support as we navigate these changes together. Hair loss can feel isolating, but you're not alone. Now, let's get to the nuts that actually make a difference. We'll start with number 4 on the list, a nut many US doctors recommend when women express concern about thinning hair: almonds. At first glance, almonds may look like just a convenient snack, but they contain compounds that are essential for healthy hair growth. One of the key nutrients is biotin. Think of biotin as fuel for the cells that produce hair. As we age, nutrient absorption slows, and many women over 50 are unknowingly running low on this essential vitamin. Hair follicles, the tiny structures in the scalp that generate each strand of hair, depend on biotin. Without it, follicles slow down or stop producing strong, healthy hair altogether. Almonds also bring something else to the table: vitamin E. This nutrient acts like a protective shield, keeping your scalp in optimal condition. Picture your scalp as a garden. Vitamin E enriches the soil so that hair can grow thick, strong, and resilient. Studies cited by US doctors have shown that women supplementing with vitamin E often notice measurable improvement in hair thickness after several months. You don't need a mountain of almonds. Just a small handful, around 20 a day, is sufficient. You can sprinkle them on oatmeal, toss them into salads, or carry a small portion in your purse for a mid-afternoon snack. The key is consistency. Hair grows slowly, so you won't see dramatic changes overnight, but steady intake can reduce breakage and make hair feel healthier over time. Next up, at number 3, are walnuts, a nut that works in a very different way. These are particularly valuable for postmenopausal women, addressing an issue that's common but often overlooked: inflammation. You've probably heard of omega-3 fatty acids, usually associated with fish, but walnuts are one of the few nuts that provide significant amounts of these essential fats. As we age, inflammation subtly increases throughout the body, including in the scalp. This invisible inflammation creates a poor environment for hair growth, much like trying to cultivate a garden in dry, compacted soil. Omega-3s from walnuts.com, this inflammation, improving scalp health, reducing itching, and creating better conditions for hair to grow. Additionally, walnuts contain copper, a mineral crucial for maintaining hair structure and strength. While copper won't prevent gray hair that's largely determined by genetics, it helps the hair you have remain resilient and less brittle. Many US doctors recommend 7 to 10 walnut halves several times per week. You can chop them into yogurt, mix them into baked goods, or eat them on the go. The beauty of walnuts is that they work internally, addressing the root causes of hair thinning that topical treatments simply cannot reach. And for women over 50, that's exactly what we need: a systemic approach to hair health rather than just surface fixes. Moving on to number 2, things get even more interesting with Brazil nuts. These large, buttery nuts are nutritional powerhouses, especially for thyroid health, a factor many women don't realize is directly linked to hair growth. The thyroid, a small gland in your neck, regulates metabolism, energy levels, and the hair growth cycle. Research in American medical centers has shown that thyroid issues are incredibly common in women our age, and one of the earliest signs can be thinning hair. Brazil nuts are loaded with selenium, a mineral that supports thyroid function. Just 1 or 2 nuts a day provides enough selenium to sustain healthy thyroid activity. When selenium levels are insufficient, thyroid function slows, which directly affects hair growth, leading to dull, brittle hair that falls out more easily. Here's an important point: moderation is essential. Brazil nuts are extremely rich in selenium, and eating too many can cause adverse effects. The FDA recommends 1 to 3 nuts daily. These can be eaten as a quick snack, chopped over a salad, or blended into a smoothie. Regular, small amounts can reduce hair shedding over time, and many women begin noticing tiny new hairs around the hairline or crown after a few months. Hair grows slowly, but by supporting thyroid health with selenium, you create an environment where hair can grow naturally and steadily. Finally, at number 1, we have cashews. Cashews might surprise you as the top choice, but they contain zinc, a mineral critical for hair follicle function. Zinc acts like a construction worker, repairing and maintaining the tissues of the scalp and hair follicles. As absorption decreases with age, zinc deficiency becomes more common than many women realize. Low zinc levels correlate directly with diffuse hair thinning, the kind that's most often seen after menopause. Deficiency isn't obvious at first. You may feel slightly tired or notice minor changes in taste, but the hair follicles are silently struggling. Cashews help replenish zinc in a gentle, natural way. A quarter cup offers significant zinc along with iron and magnesium, supporting overall health. U.S. nutritionists recommend incorporating them in moderation, roasted as a snack, blended into sauces, or made into cashew butter. Over time, hair becomes stronger, breaks less, and feels more resilient. With these 4 nuts, almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, and cashews, you have a foundation for stronger, healthier hair. But as powerful as these options are, there's another side to the story. Nuts that can actively work against hair health, often without women realizing it. And many of these risky nuts are staples in kitchens across America. Let's start with risky nut number 4, which often catches women off guard because it seems so harmless. Peanuts. Technically, peanuts aren't even true nuts. They're legumes, but they can still impact your hair health in ways that most people don't consider. The main concern is contamination with aflatoxin, a type of mold that can develop during storage, especially in warm or humid conditions. This isn't just a random warning. It's well documented in medical research conducted by American universities and carefully monitored by the FDA. Aflatoxin primarily affects the liver, and here's why that matters for hair. Your liver is responsible for filtering toxins, processing nutrients, and helping balance hormones, all critical functions for hair health. When your liver is stressed or overwhelmed, nutrients and hormones essential for strong, resilient hair can't reach your scalp efficiently. The problem isn't occasional peanut consumption, but regular daily intake. Think about how many women reach for peanut butter on toast each morning, eat peanuts as an afternoon snack, or use peanut-based sauces multiple times a week. Over time, that steady exposure to aflatoxin can subtly strain the liver, contributing to hormone imbalances that manifest as hair thinning. Beyond aflatoxin, peanuts are also among the most common allergens. Even mild sensitivities that don't trigger obvious reactions can create low-level inflammation throughout the body. And as we discussed with walnuts, inflammation on the scalp interferes with hair growth. Your body is busy fighting inflammation instead of focusing on healthy hair production. Now, I'm not saying peanuts need to be eliminated entirely. The key is moderation and awareness. Choose organic options where possible. Look for brands that test for aflatoxin and observe how your hair responds. Many women notice that when they reduce peanuts in their diet, their shedding slows slightly over a few months. Paying attention to patterns like this is one of the simplest ways to take control of hair health naturally. Next, risky nut number 3 is pecans. And this one often surprises women. Pecans in their natural form are nutritious, but the way most Americans consume them creates problems. Candied pecans, pecan pies, and other sugar-coated varieties are everywhere during the holidays. The added sugar is the real issue. Research from universities in the US shows a clear connection between high sugar intake and hair loss, particularly in women over 50. When you eat sugar, your blood glucose spikes, and insulin is released to manage it. Over time, cells can become less responsive to insulin, a condition known as insulin resistance, which is incredibly common in postmenopausal women. Insulin resistance doesn't just affect metabolism, it changes how your body handles hormones, especially androgens. Even small amounts of these male hormones can shrink hair follicles in sensitive areas, like the crown and hairline. This leads to the diffuse thinning pattern many U.S. doctors observe in older women. Pecans themselves contain beneficial nutrients, but when paired with sugar, processed oils, or desserts, they shift from being healthy to counterproductive. In addition to sugar, pecans are high in omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 isn't inherently bad, but an imbalance, especially when your diet already contains processed foods and vegetable oils, can increase inflammation. As we've established, inflammation is a major enemy of hair growth. So, consuming sugary omega-6 heavy pecans regularly creates a perfect storm that undermines the hair supportive nutrients in your other foods. If you want to enjoy pecans, stick to plain, unsweetened varieties and treat them as an occasional snack, not a daily indulgence. Small, mindful portions are key. Risky nut number 2 might surprise you even more because it's one we praised earlier. Cashews. Yes, the same nut that supports hair growth can become a problem if overconsumed. The culprit is phytic acid, an anti-nutrient found in many nuts and seeds. Phytic acid binds to minerals like zinc, iron, and calcium, preventing your body from absorbing them fully. So if you eat too many cashews daily, you can unintentionally block the very nutrients that support hair health. This is a balance issue. A modest portion of cashews, like a quarter cup a few times a week, provides beneficial zinc and other minerals without overwhelming your system. But large, daily portions can tip the scales, leading to deficiencies even while eating nutrient-rich foods. The issue is compounded because most cashews aren't truly raw. They're steamed or roasted to remove a natural toxic compound, which is safe but can add sodium or oils depending on the brand. High sodium intake can affect circulation, and good blood flow is critical for delivering nutrients to hair follicles. Finally, risky nut. Number 1, the one likely sitting in your kitchen right now, is macadamia nuts. These are often marketed as luxury nuts or promoted for heart health, but they carry hidden risks for hair, especially when eaten in large amounts. First, they're extremely calorie dense, with a single ounce containing over 200 calories and more than 20 grams of fat. While much of this fat is heart-healthy monounsaturated fat, overconsumption can contribute to weight gain, which in turn affects hormone balance, a key factor for hair health in women over 50. Even more concerning is the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. Macadamia nuts have one of the highest omega-6 levels among commonly eaten nuts. Excess omega-6 increases systemic inflammation, which, as we've seen, is detrimental to scalp health. Some women experience bloating, gas, or digestive discomfort when eating macadamias, especially because digestive efficiency naturally declines with age. Poor digestion compromises nutrient absorption, further limiting the vitamins and minerals needed for hair growth. Portion control is essential. Nutrition experts recommend limiting macadamia nuts to 5 or 6 at a time, treating them as an occasional indulgence rather than a daily snack. Eating straight from a large container is risky because it's easy to consume hundreds of calories and excessive omega-6s without realizing it. Balance is critical. If your diet already includes vegetable oils, processed foods, or other omega-6 rich nuts, macadamias may be best avoided entirely. Understanding which nuts help and which can harm is only part of the picture. Hair health after 50 isn't about a single magic food or avoiding one thing entirely. It's about patterns what you eat consistently, day after day. Almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, and moderate cashews work best when paired with adequate water, sufficient protein, stress management, and overall healthy habits. Risky nuts like peanuts, sugar-loaded pecans, excess cashews, and macadamias aren't catastrophic if eaten occasionally. Problems arise when these nuts become daily staples without awareness of their cumulative effect. Small, consistent changes add up over time. Many women notice improvements by swapping peanuts for almonds, adding walnuts instead of sugary pecans, or keeping Brazil nuts handy in place of macadamias. The changes aren't dramatic immediately, but over months, hair responds because the internal conditions for growth are optimized. And remember, hair grows slowly, about ½ an inch per month, on average, often even slower after 50. So patience is key. Results may appear in 3 to 6 months, and that's completely normal. Now that you understand which nuts can support hair health and which ones to approach with caution, the next step is learning how to incorporate these hair-friendly nuts into your daily routine effectively. It's not just about eating them, it's about creating consistent, sustainable habits that your body and scalp can respond to over time. For instance, almonds are an easy nut to integrate because they're versatile and convenient. A small handful, roughly 20 almonds, can be eaten as a mid-morning snack, added to a bowl of oatmeal, or sprinkled over a salad for extra crunch. Some women even blend them into smoothies for a creamy texture and an additional nutrient boost. The key here is moderation and consistency. Too few won't make much difference, and too many could overwhelm your system or add unnecessary calories. Walnuts, on the other hand, require a slightly different approach. Because they work primarily by reducing inflammation and providing omega-3 fatty acids, it's important to make them a regular part of your diet a few times per week. You can chop them into yogurt for breakfast, bake them into muffins, or keep a small portion in your purse for an afternoon snack. Unlike almonds, walnuts target deeper issues like scalp inflammation, which can be subtle but has a significant impact on hair growth. Many women report that after several weeks of including walnuts, their scalp feels healthier, less itchy, and hair starts to shed less frequently. This isn't instant gratification, but it is a clear sign that the internal environment of your scalp is improving. Brazil nuts deserve special attention because of their connection to thyroid health. Just 1 or 2 nuts per day provides enough selenium to support proper thyroid function. A strong thyroid keeps your metabolism and hair growth cycles on track. You can enjoy them as a quick snack, chop them over a salad, or blend them into a morning smoothie. The effect isn't immediate. Selenium works gradually, helping to normalize hair shedding over several months. Women often notice tiny new hairs around their hairline or crown, signaling that follicles are beginning to respond. It's subtle at first, but over time, the cumulative effect becomes unmistakable. Cashews are unique because they provide zinc, iron, and magnesium, essential for hair follicle repair and maintenance. But remember, moderation is critical. Too many cashews can introduce excessive phytic acid, which actually blocks absorption of the very minerals that support hair growth. A quarter cup a few times per week is sufficient. Cashews are particularly versatile. They can be roasted as a snack, blended into sauces, or made into cashew butter. The creamy texture makes them easy to incorporate into meals without feeling forced. Women who consistently include cashews in measured portions often notice hair becoming stronger and less prone to breakage after several months. Now, let's talk about strategies to monitor progress and optimize results. Hair growth is slow, roughly half an inch per month on average, sometimes slower after 50. This means patience is key. Keep a simple journal, noting which nuts you include in your diet each day. Track observations like shedding, texture, and scalp comfort. Over time, patterns emerge. You might notice that on days when you include walnuts, your scalp feels less itchy, or weeks when you avoid peanuts, shedding is reduced. This kind of self-observation is invaluable because it connects dietary habits to tangible results. It's also crucial to maintain overall health alongside these dietary adjustments. Drinking enough water ensures nutrients are transported effectively to your scalp. Adequate protein intake supports keratin production, the building block of hair. Stress management through meditation, light exercise, or hobbies prevents cortisol spikes that can accelerate hair thinning. Essentially, nuts provide targeted support, but they are most effective when combined with a holistic approach. Your hair responds to your entire lifestyle, not just one element. Even the risky nuts can be incorporated safely if you're mindful. For peanuts, for instance, limit consumption and choose organic varieties tested for aflatoxin. Pecans should be plain and unsweetened rather than candied or baked into desserts. Cashews are beneficial in moderation, but avoid daily overconsumption, and macadamias should be enjoyed sparingly, ideally portioned ahead of time to prevent overeating. Awareness is the most powerful tool. Many women are unaware that regular consumption of these nuts can cumulatively create conditions that hinder hair growth. Once you understand the balance, you can enjoy them responsibly without harming your progress. Another practical tip is combining nuts with other hair supportive foods. For example, pair almonds with protein-rich foods like Greek yogurt or eggs, which together provide a nutrient-dense start to your day. Walnuts complement anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens or berries. Brazil nuts work well with foods that support thyroid function, such as whole grains or selenium-rich seafood. Cashews can be blended with vegetables for nutrient-dense sauces. These combinations maximize absorption and ensure your hair follicles receive the nutrients they need consistently. Finally, let's address expectations. Hair doesn't transform overnight. Many women expect immediate results and get discouraged when they don't see change after a week or two. But real improvements are gradual. Hair grows in cycles. Follicles need time to respond. And internal systems like thyroid function and mineral absorption take months to optimize. Observing consistent habits, making small adjustments, and exercising patience are what ultimately yields stronger, thicker, and healthier hair. Engagement is also critical. Share your experiences in communities, with friends, or even in the comments of videos like this. Ask questions, swap tips, and celebrate progress, no matter how small. Often, hearing how other women respond to the same dietary changes reinforces your motivation to stay consistent. You're not alone on this journey, and support networks can make a big difference in sustaining long-term changes. By focusing on nutrient-rich nuts like almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, and moderate cashews, while being aware of the potential downsides of peanuts, pecans, excess cashews, and macadamias, you create a framework for hair health that's sustainable and science-based. Combine this with hydration, protein, stress management, and patience, and you're giving your hair the best chance to regain strength, shine, and resilience. As we reach the final part of this discussion, it's important to reinforce the idea that hair health after 50 is a journey, not a quick fix. The nuts we've discussed, almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, and moderate cashews aren't a magic solution, but they create the optimal conditions your hair needs to grow stronger, thicker, and healthier. Integrating them consistently into your diet is about creating a routine that works for you, one that complements your overall health and lifestyle. Small, consistent changes compound over time, and this is where most women see the real difference. Think about it this way. Your hair follicles are like tiny factories. They need raw materials, vitamins, minerals, and fatty acids to operate efficiently. Almonds provide biotin and vitamin E, essential for scalp health and protecting your follicles. Walnuts bring omega-3 fatty acids and copper, reducing inflammation and supporting hair strength. Brazil nuts supply selenium, which keeps your thyroid functioning properly so your hair growth cycles stay on track. Cashews deliver zinc, iron, and magnesium, the building blocks that repair and maintain your hair. When all these elements come together in a balanced way, your follicles can thrive even after years of gradual thinning. Now, let's talk about lifestyle factors that magnify these nutritional benefits. Hydration is critical. Water helps transport nutrients to the scalp efficiently. Protein intake supports keratin production, the core component of hair strands, so include eggs, fish, lean meats, or plant-based proteins in your meals. Managing stress is equally important because elevated cortisol levels can disrupt hormone balance and accelerate hair loss. Simple practices like short daily walks, light stretching, meditation, or even a few deep breathing exercises can create a calmer internal environment that favors hair growth. Remember, diet alone isn't enough. Your body needs overall stability to respond fully. Another key factor is observation. Keep track of what you eat, which nuts you include, and how your hair responds over time. You may notice subtle patterns, for example. Shedding might decrease after a few weeks of consistent almond and walnut consumption, or the hair feels thicker and stronger after adding Brazil nuts to your routine. Journaling these observations can be surprisingly effective because it turns abstract changes into measurable patterns, helping you adjust your habits for maximum results. It's also worth emphasizing moderation and portion control. Many women over 50 make the mistake of thinking more is better when it comes to healthy nuts, particularly cashews or macadamias. Too many cashews introduce excess phytic acid, which can block absorption of essential minerals, while macadamias are high in omega-6 fatty acids and calories. Portioning your nuts ahead of time, perhaps 5 to 10 per snack, prevents overconsumption and ensures your body gets nutrients without being overwhelmed. This approach not only protects your hair, but also supports overall health, including weight management and circulation, which are directly linked to follicle function. While focusing on supportive nuts, it's equally important to minimize risky ones. Peanuts, especially when eaten regularly, can introduce aflatoxin and cause liver stress. Sugary pecans and other coated nuts spike blood sugar, affecting insulin and hormone balance. Excessive cashews can block mineral absorption, and too many macadamias increase inflammation through omega-6 overload. These foods don't have to be eliminated entirely. Awareness and moderation are key. For instance, occasional peanuts are fine if they're organic and tested for aflatoxin. Plain, unsweetened pecans in limited amounts are acceptable. Cashews should be enjoyed in measured portions, and macadamias treated as an occasional indulgence. The goal is to create a balanced diet where the majority of your nut intake supports hair health rather than undermines it.